Hello, amateurs, and welcome back to our Rugby World Cup series. And I've got Elko with me again today. Elko, how are you?
ATT, thanks for having me on. This weekend is big.
Very, very big. This is the final round of fixtures in the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Elko and I chatted through all the events of last weekend in the previous video. So if you want to go and listen to that, go and do that, and then come back and listen to this one as we head into the sort of finale here of the group stages. So, Elko, which games or game are standing out for you this weekend?
I wonder. England Samoa. So I think we've got sort of one very, well. There's three tasties in there. So obviously Ireland Scotland is the biggie. Japan Argentina straight shootout. And some other groups that need some calculators to work out what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So I tell you what, let's start with the big one because it really is the big one, and that is Ireland Scotland. Ireland, despite being world number one, despite winning every game in this group so far, if they lose to Scotland by 4 match points or more, then Ireland will be out, and that's the crux of it. So, I mean, what's the psychology going to be like in the Ireland camp this week?
Well, judging on the last few weeks, Faz is going to pick a team to win, and they're going to talk about winning. That's it. I was thinking maybe you go out to score 4 tries, get that bonus point, and so I remember being involved with London Scottish and Isha with a playoff, and we had all we needed was a bonus point, and we were quite prepared to lose the game, but we had a plan to score 4 tries. Highly risky in a World Cup game like this, particularly against a very good Scottish team. But there you go. Or we could lose and by. I was trying to work it out. What have they got? They get 21 points, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could get a bonus point, and then they could score 21 points plus, and that's the only way South Africa get kicked out of the competition. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? I think Johannesburg might burn down if that happened, God forbid. So no, the maths are. Look, both teams are going to go out and absolutely try and kill each other, aren't they? So the problem Scotland have is you have to beat Ireland, but then you have to stop them getting a point, and that's difficult. I think that's going to be a difficult thing to do. But I quite fancy Scotland to win.
Really? He's shaking his head. Definitely not. Okay. No, I don't either. I think Ireland will only be talking about winning this game. You know, any kind of match permutations towards the end, the coaches can deal with that. I expect Ireland to win it. I think they'll strangle the game, and I think it'll be tight for quite some time. But I see Ireland winning. But yeah, there is this.
Sorry, T, I was going to say, what are you thinking around selection for Scotland? What do you think Gregor's going to do in terms of particularly sort of wingers?
I think, well, they need to score points. They need to score tries. So I think it will definitely be Doohan and Darcy.
Interesting.
They're two big game breakers. I think they have to play them both. But there's this strange mathematical situation here where if Ireland are like 16 points up, if Scotland are 16 points up and Ireland have already got a bonus point, it'll be in both teams' best interest for Scotland to go and score another try.
Yeah.
So, because then that will knock South Africa out. So that could be a really strange scenario towards the end of this game. I mean, it's 1,000,000 to 1 chance, I think, that it will get to that point, but that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. There's stuff already, so conspiracy theories and everything else. You'd have to almost. It would have to almost happen like that, as opposed to, some kind of meeting in a sort of murky alley in a French cafe, so saying, well, we'll let you do this. You just can't do that. I wouldn't trust the Scots anyway, considering they're voting on who hosted the World Cup. But you just can't do that. And but look, the best thing to do is just get rid of all those permutations and just go for Ireland. Is just go and win the game. You can't be thinking if. But you're right. It could be that might be on the scoreboard at that time. And
Yeah.
but then you'd have to make sure. Oh no, yeah, you could just let them. I was going to say you need to make sure they scored in a certain place so they didn't get the pressure. But it's 21 points and above, isn't it? That
Yeah,
Scotland
exactly.
would,
Yeah.
South Africa would get knocked out. Yeah, let's see what happens. But I think it's going to be a fierce game, and going to be interesting that Ireland had a week off, and Scotland didn't, but rested some players. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I see Scotland actually playing some really good rugby in this game as well. I think they could score 2, maybe 3 really good tries, but I think the qualification is going to be just beyond them, unfortunately.
Never say never. Never say never.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go through the other big games, which are France versus Italy. Now, this is a tricky one because Italy have obviously just been absolutely humped by New Zealand, but they could knock France out if they beat them, which would be absolutely astounding. Can you see that happening?
Yes. No, I I was very annoyed and angry. If you haven't listened, have a listen to the previous podcast around how poor Italy were. Now, if if they turn up and play like they did, the week just gone by, then none of them should wear a shirt again. I'm imagining there's going to be a huge kickback. They will be hurting massively, as they should be, and they need to come out and not get embarrassed again and put some pride back in that jersey. And you never know if they know. You're talking about two teams that know each other extremely well, from Six Nations, obviously, and a lot of Italian players play in the French league. So it could happen. It could if early start and early score from Italy, a red card here or there. Um, France are missing their talisman. It could happen, but the likelihood is that France are class. We know that, and I would see them, as much as I'd like an upset, I would see them beating Italy fairly comfortably, probably by around 40 points is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I agree. I think it might be a little bit less than that. I mean, Italy did push France pretty close in this most recent Six Nations, um, but I can't see them recovering emotionally from the damage of last weekend. So,
They should
yeah,
be
as
pretty
much as
fresh though, TT. They should be pretty fresh. Like they didn't make any tackles, so they should be fine.
okay, let's go. Let's go back to the Thursday. New Zealand, Uruguay. New Zealand obviously on an absolute tear now at the moment, and are
Mm.
definitely going to win the World Cup against Uruguay, one of our favourite teams. So, do you see them? I don't know. What's the question here? Will New Zealand score 100 points?
I hope not. Chances are they could do. They when they click and get behind you. They're devastating. And we really love Uruguay, and we love what they've done so far. It would be a real shame if the wheels came off and they did in Italy. But I don't think they will. I think they probably weirdly been looking forward to this, to play the most, decorated or famous team in world rugby. And they know the whole nation's watching. They got nothing to lose, and I'm sure they'll chuck the kitchen sink at it. But I see a big New Zealand win coming. I don't think they'll get to a ton, but I think they'll get to 70, 80 points, something like that.
Yeah, and I see New Zealand picking a fairly strong team as well because they've had some people out with injury, so they'll probably want more game time. Yeah, I think 70, 80, although Uruguay will not embarrass themselves by any means.
No, I hope they get a couple of scores as well. Would be really good for rugby. I think if they scored some tries.
Absolutely. Wales versus Georgia. Wales struggled a little bit in their other sort of group game against sort of the weaker opposition. They struggled a little bit against Portugal. Georgia might, I don't know, they might even be a tougher proposition now because they've come into a little bit of form themselves. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, what are the permutations here? Wales are qualified, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone can catch them for top of the group. I don't know. Uh, Obviously Georgia beat them a while back in a friendly, and that kind of was the nail in the coffin for the ex Welsh coach, and Gatland came in. I think Gatland was commentating for Amazon on that one, which was quite funny. Um, but I don't know. I think Georgia have come into some form and playing much better, and they've got better as it's progressed. if Wales have one eye on the quarters, then and they might pick a slightly weaker team, then Georgia might have a chance. But I've got Wales to win by 12.
Yeah, I agree. I think Georgia probably put everything into their previous game to try and get a win there, and this one might be just a bit game too far for them. Just in terms of what we've spoken about before, in terms of the fatigue of these sort of lower nations and just not having the same conditioning and relying on the sort of small group of better players more often than not. So yeah, I see Wales winning this one as well. England versus Samoa, the tea time kickoff here in Lille on Saturday. Uh, I think England continue their slow increasing trajectory of form and have a very good solid win here and score a few good tries at the same time. I think Samoa, sadly, are probably just going to drift away out of this tournament.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd say they're pretty shattered, somehow physically. Been a long old few weeks. England will be nice and fresh. Be interesting to see what he does with selection. With one eye on probably Fiji, we think. And it's probably quite a good warm up for that game. No disrespect to Samoa, but I can't see England slipping up here. I think they're they've had a week and too much class. So I see England winning by 20 points plus.
Okay, the big game on Sunday is Japan versus Argentina. Straight shootout, basically, for the second place in the group. Which way is it going to go?
Oh, I think it's going to be quite tight. And my heart is saying Argentina, but my head is saying Japan. Weirdly, yeah, I think it's going to be very very tight. I don't know. I just fancy it'd be great for the competition, not great for Argentina, obviously. But I've got a sneaking suspicion that they're gonna sneak it. I was really impressed with Japan's set piece against Samoa the weekend, and I think they've improved on that in the scrum. So I think they're gonna really take it to. I mean, they took it to England for quite a long time in their game, sort of the first 30, and only it, their their sort of step off of the game plan. They started doing all these weird little kicks and stuff, and then England started to really open and play. I think if they're a little bit more disciplined against an Argentinian team that I don't think is as good as England, as well the results would say, I think if they keep it tight and run when they need to, as opposed to chasing the game, I think they might pip it. I've got Japan by 3.
Oh, this is interesting then because we've tended to agree on most of our predictions, I think. But my heart definitely says Argentina based on the fan interaction that I've had at this tournament with those guys. They've been amazing. And my head says Argentina as well. I think they haven't been good in this tournament so far, but they've improved. Performances have improved every single game. And I think they'll step up again. And I think they'll put in a really strong performance this week. And I think they actually might end up winning this quite comfortably by sort of 12 points.
Interesting. Well, you see, what you need to do is do what I do, is just write the games down, and then I'll just pick what is the home side, the one on the left. That's what I've done. It works.
Okay, so I think Argentina, you think Japan.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it'll make for an interesting quarterfinal. Let's go Fiji, Portugal. Now this, we thought maybe Fiji's banana skin was last week, and they came through that one. But they could still not qualify if they manage to not get a point from this game, I think is the maths.
That's
How
right.
do you see it going?
Um, well, God, we spoke about how much we enjoy watching Portugal play, but obviously we love watching Fiji play as well. It's gonna be really interesting. There's two teams that can move the ball well, slightly different sort of physical attributes, but I think it's gonna be a cracking game. And you know, the nerves might get to Fiji. This is a game they should go and win. They're about to make history by beating two of the top teams and going through into the quarterfinals, topping the group. But I don't know. I'm going to go Fiji by 5, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be very nervy, like it was on the weekend, and it's definitely one to to watch. I think that's the final game on the weekend, so I think it's gonna be a cracker.
I know there's one more game after that. But
Ah,
aside from Ireland, Scotland, this is the one that I'm looking forward to. This I think will be a really, really brilliant game, and I think there could be a lot of points scored in this game. I think there's going to be action all over the place. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, out of all the other games, this is the one I'm most looking forward to seeing. And I've got to go with Fiji. I've got to go with Fiji, heart and head, just about, because God, it'd be absolutely mean. It'd be awful if they didn't qualify after what they've done in this tournament so far. So definitely Fiji. And then the last game is Tonga, Romania, which I don't
Mm.
know about you, but I only see one result here. Tonga massively improving throughout the tournament, and Romania just still trying hard, but still being outclassed. I think Tonga win this pretty comfortably, 40 odd points.
Yeah, yeah, I've got Tonga to win by 20. I think it will be fair. It will be competitive. I think, as mentioned in the last podcast, Romania rested quite a few boys of the weekend. Just gone to they're targeting this game as the one that they can go after. But Tonga will be confident to go out, but to take the eye off the ball, I think Romania could surprise. I'd like to see Romania score a couple of tries and not get nilled. But yeah, Tonga by 20 for me. Too much in the firepower in the back line.
Yeah, but to sum it up, I mean, this should be a cracking week of rugby. There's, a lot of things have already been pretty much decided, but there could be some real drama this weekend, and either way, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great rugby being played. What do you think at home? Do you think we've got these nailed on, or do you disagree? And if you disagree, then I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. And while you're down there, give us a thumbs up. And hit subscribe as well, so that you don't miss all the daily vlogs that I'm doing out here in France, showing you behind the scenes, in the stadiums, in the fan villages, all that good stuff. Elko, thanks very much for today. Enjoy your rugby weekend.
Cheers, TT. Have fun.
And for you guys at home, get out and play.